Alright, let's go ahead and get started with the magic orb. The magic orb script is the one that we made right here. We also have the object inside of our hierarchy scene over here. What we've already done is assign the script to the object, so we have it here. In order to open it, you can either double click it from here, you can go over here and you can double click it from here, you can open it up through the solution file. What we're going to do is just double click on this one. What's going to happen is MonoDevelop is going to load. When MonoDevelop loads, it's going to open up. It'll open up to either a scene that looks similar to this, and or you might have it open up to a scene where you don't see the solution file, you just see the file by itself. If this is the case, just go up to your view on your menu bar right here, and you'll see one that says pads. Pads over here, there's a solution option. Just click on the solution option. The solution option is just going to show you all the files available inside of the project you've opened. What you should see, if you see it all rolled up, you may see something like this. You can just click on the drop down and you'll go down to scripts, and then down and you'll see that you have your magic orb script file right there. What we want to do is let's go ahead and open up all of them real quick. I'm going to open up all four of the files. You'll notice all of them have the same setup. There is a start and an update. This is just the default for how Unity works with their files when they create the class. They'll just go ahead and create a starter file giving you the start and the update method. These are two of the file types, two of the methods that Unity uses that can be preloaded with things to do inside of it. And we'll explain those things at a later point. What we're going to do though to get started with, let's go ahead and just clear out all the stuff here. We're going to make sure that we start with a nice empty file. So we'll have something like this. I'm just going to delete everything inside of here. We'll have the curly Q brackets. I'm also going to zoom in. To zoom in, you can hold Control and then just middle mouse wheel forward and backward. It's going to zoom in and out on it. So I'm just zooming in right here. And then I'm just going to go to the hero one as well. We'll just clear this one out. And then we'll go to the turret. We'll clear it out. And to the magic orb. Alright, so with all of them cleared out, notice what's inside of them basically that makes the difference between them all is just the name. So we have a public class and then that name, and remember that name is the same one as the file name, so it just goes across the board with all of them right there. Alright, so when it comes to getting started with this isn't going to be a C# primer class or anything on it. It's just going to be about making the code work for the project we're doing, and then we'll learn a little bit about coding along the way. The basic thing to start with for the magic orb, the thing that we're going to focus on is just making the magic orb work correctly. In order to make it work correctly, let's go ahead and take a look at one part, which is making nodes. You can do a // which is, if you notice by the right hand shift key, there's the question mark slash. That's going to be the / key. I'm going to do 2 //, which allows me to make any type of comment I want, and the compiler, when you save it, it won't actually see it. It's not going to use it. So this is more of a commenting side. You can make comments wherever you want with them. Well, let's start off with just a couple of comments here, just as what is it we want with the magic orb, how do we want it to work. First off, we just want to say that we want speed. So for the magic orb, we want it to be able to move. Based on the speed, then we also want to be able to say it has a hit point value. When it hits something, it can actually perform a value, a number, a range of hit points to it. We also want it to have some kind of sound, some kind of audio. So let's say when we shoot it, we'll say there's going to be a shoot sound. And then when it hits another object, if it hits another object, let's have it play some kind of hit sound to it. And then if we have some time, we'll actually put in some particle effects. We'll probably do a simple particle just so that we can have that as another option to it. So those would be, if we were starting off our file, we're just doing some kind of general thinking. It's the what is it we want to think about in terms of the variables we actually want to use. So we'll use those as a reference. So with that, let's go ahead and just fill out some basic variables here. I'm going to use a keyword called public. Public means it's going to be available to other scripts, it's going to be available to the inspector. So if we say public, and then we're going to say it's going to be an integer. An integer is going to be a whole number. So a whole number, let's start off with our hit point. We'll say hit point is going to be 10. So we'll give the value of every time you use this magic orb and hit another object, it's going to allow you to have 10 points damage. Alright, let's do another public variable. So public, and notice when I start typing, if I start typing pretty close to the right word, it automatically gives me the IntelliSense, and it gives me a pop-up and shows public. You can either hit enter, it'll automatically finish filling out the spelling for you, or you can select it from the list and push enter or click with the mouse. It's usually a good idea to notice that, because it's going to be where if you're misspelling it in something, you can back up and see how you're supposed to spell it correctly. So this one we're going to do is the speed. Let's go ahead and do speed here. Now speed is going to be a float variable. Float's going to be a decimal. It's going to be a fraction. It means that it's not going to be a whole number. Now by doing speed, what we're saying is that we can do like 2.5 or 2.315 or whatever variable, whatever additional numbers we want. So we can be a little bit more accurate with a speed change. At the very end of speed, F for float. When you're creating a float variable in C#, you have to put the F at the end. It can be a lowercase or it can be capital. Either one's going to be acceptable, but if you don't do either, you'll get an error from that one. So be sure that if you're doing a decimal, if you're doing a float, then you want to make sure that you have an F at the end of it. Alright, so the next one we're going to do, let's go ahead and make some of our sounds. So we have a public option. We have one called audio clip. Audio clip is where you actually place a audio file in, and that's how you can actually use a sound inside of Unity. So we'll say this one's going to be audio hit, and we're going to assign it a value of null to start with. It's usually good practice that when you're declaring a variable up here, that you actually assign it a null value over here. It's not something that's required, but it's something to be in good practice with. So we'll do another audio clip here. We have our audio hit, and then we also have our audio shoot. Let's make that one word, and then we'll assign it a value of null as well. And then we'll go ahead and put in the particle option, since we're assuming we're going to have some time, and we'll make some particle effect. We're going to do particle and do the same thing. We're going to assign it a value of null as well. So this is going to give us all the basic ones that we need to start with. So let's go ahead and go from here. Let's be sure we save. You can either do Control S to save, you can go up to File, you can do Save or Save As. Once you save it, let's go back into Unity here. And what Unity is going to do in that bottom right corner, do you see how it's actually doing a little compile right there? This means that it's actually testing the code, making sure everything works. If there's any issues or errors inside of your console right here, it's going to pop up the errors. And you'll notice the three options here for your filters. You have real errors, you have warnings, and you have comments that you